No one really prepares you for the kind of heartbreak that doesn't explode, but rather erodes. It doesn't come with shouting or slammed doors or tears that flood the room. No, this kind creeps in silently, like a draft under a closed window. Starts in the quiet. In the pauses between conversations. In the absence of laughter where it once echoed easily. It's the slow disappearance of someone who's still right in front of you. I met Emily 5 years ago at a small bookstore cafe tucked away on a quiet street. She sat by the window, curled into a corner seat, completely absorbed in the bell jar. Her fingers wrapped around a chipped mug of black coffee. She wore a soft, almost wistful smile, the kind that made her look like she belonged to some peaceful, far-off world. I don't know what made me approach her, but I did. And somehow, a casual comment about Sylvia Plath turned into a 3-hour conversation that felt more like picking up where something left off, not starting something new. She was this beautiful contradiction, composed but passionate, open but unknowable in a way that made you want to learn her language. I didn't fall for her gradually. I was gone instantly. And I didn't resist it. Loving her felt like finally exhaling. In the beginning, everything felt effortless. She'd send me messages in the middle of her day just to say she missed me. We'd fall asleep tangled in each other's limbs, cook elaborate meals just to dance barefoot in the kitchen while 90s slow jams played softly in the background. She once laid her head on my chest and whispered, "Asterisk. This is where I feel safest." Asterisk. I believed her without hesitation. That intimacy, that comfort, it became the axis around which my world turned. But things don't always shatter. Sometimes they slowly disassemble, piece by piece, while you're still holding on. It didn't start with a fight. It started with the absence of something. A missing spark in her eyes. A kiss that barely landed. A touch that lingered less and less. I chalked it up to work stress. Fatigue. I told myself love was seasonal. So I stepped up. I made her favorite meals after long days. Left sticky notes on her mirror that said things like, "Asterisk. You're my calm in the chaos." Asterisk. I didn't want grand gestures. Just some spark, some moment of closeness again. But even those small efforts began to feel like tossing paper planes against a brick wall. She began to withdraw from simple affection. A kiss in the morning was met with a turned cheek. Her hugs grew shallow, like obligations instead of desires. She rolled away from me in bed, saying she was too tired to talk. The silence between us grew heavy, charged with something we didn't dare name. I didn't push. Gave her space. But something in me knew. We were unraveling. Slowly. Silently. Without a single raised voice. Then came the moment that broke the illusion. It was a quiet Sunday. We were supposed to drive out and visit her parents. I shaved, wore the cologne she once said reminded her of safety. She wore the navy blouse I always said made her eyes glow. As we headed toward the door, I leaned in, instinctively, gently, for a kiss. Nothing dramatic, just love, plain and simple. She recoiled, flinched like I was a stranger crossing a boundary. "Don't kiss me," she said. No anger, no explanation, just cold detachment. Froze mid-motion. My hand hung in the air like a question no one wanted to answer. And I said nothing. I didn't ask why. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just nodded, walked past her, grabbed my keys and left. That asterisk was the real goodbye. Not in the words, but in what they left unsaid. I drove for hours. Ended up at this overlook we used to visit early in our relationship, the place where we once dreamed about our future. Kids, travel, a house with big windows and morning light. I sat on the hood of my car and stared out over the city. And it hit me. I had already lost her long before that Sunday. I just hadn't wanted to face it. Something inside me shut down that day. Not with resentment, just with finality. I didn't announce it. I didn't need to. My silence became the message. After that I stopped reaching. Stopped initiating. I moved around the house like a guest. Ate in silence. Slept on the far side of the bed. I wasn't passive, I was deliberate. I had stopped waiting for her to care. I no longer searched her face for affection. The version of me who once held on, who begged silently in the dark for her to come back. He disappeared the moment she said, "Don't kiss me." And strangely, the quiet that once crushed me began to feel like peace. She noticed. The shift unnerved her. I could feel her eyes following me again. I caught her once scrolling through my phone, something she never did. She started wearing makeup more often, even when we weren't going anywhere. She cooked the pasta I loved, texted me during the day, asked about my meetings. I thanked her, but the wall remained. She asked me to brunch like we used to do on weekends. I told her I had plans. I did. I drove north, hiked alone, sat beside a still lake. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel lonely. Felt light. When I came home, she was waiting in the living room, wrapped in the gray sweater I once loved. Candle burned. Music played. "Where were you?" she asked. "Just out." "With who?" "Just me." She looked like she wanted to say more. I didn't open that door. That was our new rhythm, her reaching me unmoved. A few days later she brushed past me and said, "You smell good." I nodded. "Thanks." And I kept walking. That's when I saw it hit her. The realization. The absence she once handed me now surrounded her. She began texting more. Casual check-ins. "Dinner tonight. Want to watch a movie?" I replied politely. Never initiated. I let her sit in the silence I had drowned in for months. Because by then I had already grieved. I had mourned the woman who used to laugh while stirring pasta, who looked at me like I was her favorite view. That woman was gone. And I had stopped searching for her. Then one night the message came. A notification lit up my phone. "Emily, I miss us." I didn't freeze. I didn't feel anything sharp. Just a quiet confirmation of what I already knew. She saw it now. The damage. Distance. She had spent months resisting intimacy, pushing me away, retreating. And now she was grasping for what she thought would still be waiting. The next morning she made coffee for both of us. Placed the mug in front of me. "I know I've been far away," she said quietly. "I want to fix this." I looked at her, really looked. She was still beautiful. But something was missing. Not from her. From me. Had changed. I gave her a soft smile, sipped the coffee, stood, kissed her forehead, the kind of kiss I used to crave, and said, "We'll talk soon." It wasn't a lie. But it wasn't a promise either. Now she was the one waiting, hoping. And I had nothing left to give her. She began trying harder. Candles. Old playlists. The perfume I used to adore. She touched my hand while I was washing dishes. Laughed too loudly at my jokes. But every attempt felt like echoing footsteps in a house that was already empty. Then came the night she asked me to meet for drinks. The same bar from our second date. She wore that red dress I loved. Her laugh cracked instead of rang. She didn't talk about dreams, just regrets. Midway through her drink, she reached for my hand. "I pushed you away because I was scared," she said. "You loved me so deeply, it overwhelmed me." I didn't pull away. But I didn't hold on either. "I get it," I said. She leaned in. "I want us again." I looked her in the eyes. "Emily, I asked for connection for months. You turned your back. You looked at me like I was a stranger. Do you remember what you said before brunch?" She lowered her eyes. "Don't kiss me," she whispered. I nodded. "You said it like touching me disgusted you." I didn't stop loving you then. But I started healing without you. And now, I don't want to go back. Her tears came quietly. "I love you." "I know," I said. "Just not the way I need to be loved." When the check came, I paid. Not to prove anything, just to end it with dignity. That night, I heard her crying in the living room. I didn't comfort her. Not out of cruelty. But because it was no longer mine to carry. She kept trying over the next week. Breakfast. Mentions of therapy. But she didn't realize. I had already rebuilt myself in her absence. 2 weeks later we sat on the porch. She brought me water after a run. "I think I've lost you," she said. I looked at the fading sky. You didn't lose me now. You lost me then. Bit by bit. Night by night. Every time you turned away. She swallowed. Is there someone else? No. But there will be. And when she comes, she'll treat my love like a treasure, not a weight. Are you leaving? I already did. You just didn't notice. That weekend I packed quietly. Took only what was mine. Left the key. As I reached the door, she blocked it. Mascara smudged. It's hollow. Please, she whispered. Don't go. I looked at her for a long moment. I stayed when you didn't want me. Now that I've found peace, don't ask me to return to pain. And I left. I drove to a friend's lake cabin. No messages. No wait. I slept soundly, under stars I hadn't looked at in years. The next morning a text came. Asterisk, I'm sorry. Please come back. I can't sleep without you, asterisk. But I didn't respond. Not to punish her, but because I had finally stopped begging to be seen. She didn't just end us with that one sentence. She fractured something fundamental. And while she reached for the pieces, I had already rebuilt myself into someone who no longer mistook silence for love. Because real love doesn't need to be earned through suffering. It's given, freely, or not at all.